Hi everyone, Jim Fitzpatrick. Thanks so much for joining us on this morning's show. Am I excited for our next guest, Mr. Matt Easton, sales trainer, consultant, and founder of Easton University. This gentleman is a internet sensation. I'm sure that you've seen his TikTok videos. They're extremely popular. You know, when we saw it, we said, we got to get this guy in the studio because this is the new, fresh trainer that we want to share with all of you. So Matt, thank you so much for taking the time out of your schedule to join us.
Thanks for having me, Jim. It's an honor and a privilege.
Great, great. So, you know, one thing that you know is social media for sure. I mean, you've kind of conquered that. You've done such an incredible job. I know it's something near and dear to your heart for salespeople and business owners alike to get out there and get yourself in front of masses of people because that's where the money lies, right? So,
correct, absolutely.
Talk to us about today, you know, with social media being so popular out there and there's being so much access to so much information. How do salespeople and business owners separate themselves out there from some of the clutter and some of the competition, so to speak, that's out there?
Yeah, that's a terrific question because sales has completely changed. In the past, my job as your sales professional was to provide you with information.
Right.
Okay? You already have that today. It's right there on your phone. Right. If you talk about it, you're going to get served up ads.
That's
right?
I
got an ad the other night for a dog bed because I brought it up with my wife. Suddenly somebody out there
somewhere
in the cloud was listening. Right. So our job has changed. It's no longer about just to provide the information. It's really, in this world of information overload, Jim, it's about helping them make a decision, right? And that's a big difference. In the past, I would just give you information. You were limited to where you could get information, so it'd be easy for you to make a decision.
Right.
Now, today, you're overloaded with information.
That's right. That's
you almost have too much, a lot of it misinformation.
Yeah.
So you almost need somebody to come in like a therapist and help you make that decision. And if the audience can just focus on that, right, instead of spending all of their time talking about features, benefits, bells, whistles, what's most important to you? Why is that?
Right.
When do you need the product? What makes that date important? If they can learn about your life and then help you focus on making a decision, and for the really great ones out there, they should be caring most about, I want to help this person make the right decision. And even if that's not with me, I'm going to do my job. That's where it really comes to play in social, is if I can be ethical, if I can help you make a decision and I can be like a therapist, right? And on those few occasions when it's not a fit with me, you're going to go into social and treat me right.
Yeah, for sure.
What we don't want to do is just sit there and pound customers with features, benefits, and all kinds of data. Our job now is to give them enough information to make a decision.
Right.
Keyword being enough.
Right. Yeah, because you can overload them with information, so much so that you actually hinder making the deal. Because now they're like, whoa, now there's so many things to think about here, when in reality, they didn't need all of those things to think about.
Absolutely right. And I would say, you know, with our students at Easton University, one of the biggest things that they come to us with in day one is, how do I handle I need to think about it? Right? And instead of, I can help them with that. But the easiest way is to avoid that altogether and not give them too much to think about and realize most of the time they're already coming to us overloaded with too many things to think about.
Yeah, there's no question about it. And especially you throw social media in the mix and now they're getting information from everywhere in addition to going on Google and other sites to say, let me get all the information I need on this product or service, which to your point, I think you're right. A lot of people do have those kind of that feature and benefit already in, right? That's why they're calling you. That's why they're standing in front of you.
Yes, and it's little small tweaks. It's amazing. Some of the smallest things can make the biggest difference. For example, if you're calling me and I'm answering the phone, I don't want to say, how can I help you?
Yeah.
It's old school, right? And it doesn't do us any good. But if I just say, what can I get you information on?
Right.
Now you're going to tell me the areas that you need information on.
That's right.
Another great question that nobody asks. What research have you done on us, right?
There you go.
If you've got to run a marathon,
okay,
how long's a marathon? I don't know, 20 miles,
26 miles.
26 miles. Okay, you can tell I'm not a runner. And you have a choice of going against all these professional athletes and running the whole 26 miles or just stepping across the finish line. Which would you rather have?
Step across the finish line. Done.
The way to get there is, what research have you done on us? You'll find some people will say, hey, my friend Jim, you worked with him. I want what he bought. Perfect. Does it make sense for me to send the paperwork over to you, right? You can
easy.
start at the finish line.
Sure.
But if I don't ask simple questions like that, this is where a lot of us don't understand the psychology and the stress of being a consumer, especially on high-ticket sales. You will answer whatever question I ask you, right? So if I start with what's your budget, you're going to answer that.
That's right.
If I start with what research have you done on us, I know exactly what I want. I've been here 4 times.
Right.
You worked with my brother-in-law.
Sure.
You're going to tell me where I need to start.
Right, right. And so we need to have the salespeople and managers and business owners slow down and find out what's the motivation. Why is that customer even calling you, clicking or calling, or say coming into your showroom, right? That's first and foremost. Why are they there? Why are they in the market at this time?
Absolutely right. The key is to slow down and focus on that customer. Right. And all of my students and the majority of your people wouldn't be tuning into you if they weren't good, ethical, want to do better, want to help people.
Right.
But that being said, we can want to help people and do it in the wrong way. So we need to slow down and let that person do the talking.
Sure.
Even though we know so much and we know we want to help them.
Right.
Like imagine if you went to the doctor and all the doctors, as soon as you walked in, let's say you got a problem with your knee. And as soon as you walked in, the doctor went, hey, I went to Johns Hopkins, we've got this, and by the way, we've got a new 4K scanner, and talked all about all this stuff. You're not going to want to work with that doctor. No, I don't care if they were first in their class.
That's right.
But if the other doctor was, tell me about what's going on with your knee, Jim.
Right. How'd you get it?
Yeah.
Right.
Does it hurt at night? Does it hurt in the morning?
Right.
Does it, just out of curiosity, does it hurt when you're going upstairs or downstairs or both? Right? That's the doctor you want to work with.
Sure.
I don't care about the bits, bytes, blinking lights, whatever the fee. I want to work with somebody that understands me.
Right.
And today, the one thing that our research has shown in this world where there's so much information out there, it's not necessarily the sales rep or the organization with the best deal that's getting the business.
That's right.
It's the one that understands the customer
and cares.
And can easily articulate. Yep. If I can repeat back to you my understanding of your situation, whether I'm trying to sell you a vehicle, paint your house, or fix your knee, you're probably going to go with me.
That's right. That's right. And it's a good idea to do just what you said. Do that recap to say, Mr. Customer or Mr. Prospect at this time, or Mrs. Prospect, do I understand your needs correctly? And then maybe feed it right back to them.
Exactly right. And then at that point, instead of making a pitch or trying to close, I can make a recommendation. I can say, hey, Jim, because of the fact that you told me it's not hurting when you go up the stairs, it's hurting when you go down the stairs, because of the fact that you told me it's only been hurting for a couple weeks, what I'd like to do is I'd like to recommend physical therapy to start. Okay? And then if that's not able to fix the problem, we'll have you come back in and we'll talk surgery at that point. Fair enough? Right? When you understand and you repeat back, then it's so much easier to say, because of the fact that you said blank, I'd like to recommend blank, whatever it is. Or because of the fact that you told me, Jim, you have to have a vehicle before your daughter's wedding. Right? Here's what I would like to recommend. When you understand them, it's very, very easy to close.
Yeah, no question. So today, how have things changed in sales from your perspective? And you're working with hundreds of different fields and students that come into Easton University. How have things changed in sales since the pandemic? Because we hear a lot of horror stories about customer service and about the fact that somebody walks into a showroom of any kind, and because there's a shortage of merchandise right now, regardless of what you're selling, whether it be boats or RVs or cars or suits or whatever the case might be, people point right to the price. Okay, do you want it or do you not want it? And it seems like we've lost the art of sales.
And I think about that almost daily. And I feel like it's a bit of both of this. I think we've lost the art of sales, but I also think, Jim, that the pandemic has shined a light on some bad processes out there that before customers just dealt with. So I don't know if we were good. I don't think we were ever great. I don't know if we were good before or if we've kind of always been the same way and we've changed. But what I do know is this. Because of the pandemic, because of supply shortages, not having a process, whether it's my process, there's a ton of people out there. Go to the bookstore. There's thousands of books. Find a process that works for you, that resonates with you, and find a process that is designed around that consumer having assume that they know everything that you know or possibly more about your products.
That's right.
And have a process that's going to help them, you're going to do just fine.
Sure.
But after the pandemic, people that don't have a process, they're not being successful right now because to your point, the customer has less patience. And then also the customer has more power than ever before.
That's right.
They can go right to some of my followers have more followers than me, right? And the last thing you want to do is upset Jim, who has 1.4 million followers.
That's very true.
Most of them in the Metroplex where you live.
That's right.
That's not a good situation.
No, it's not. No, it's not. So what do you recommend? How should salespeople today look at today's customer that either calls or clicks or walks in their showroom? Because it seems to be few and far between because it's such a unique market right now, right?
Yeah. Here's the hard part with that answer is it's not as simple as just I want to care, I want to take more time, and I want to listen.
Sure.
You have to listen strategically. You have to listen empathetically. You need training to do this, right? So find yourself a sales process, find yourself some sales training that you can lean into.
Right.
Just being a good person and a caring person is not going to get it done. The stakes are too high. That customer does not have the patience for that anymore.
Sure.
Here's the other thing, just my litmus test as you're looking at sales training. If it's not something that you can do with your wife, if it's not something that you could say to your husband, if it's not something that you feel comfortable with talking to a partner or a friend, right? Like, let's say you ask your wife to go to dinner at a specific restaurant and she says, well, no. And you go to your sales book and say, well, oftentimes when I hear no, it typically means two things. Either you're afraid to tell me something that I'm not hearing, or maybe if you're like, wow, that would get me slapped.
Right.
That's probably not the sales training that's going to work for you today.
Right.
Now, if you find a training program or you find a process where you can use it with your kids, you can use it with your spouse, you would feel comfortable having this dialogue with your mother, your grandmother, your grandfather, that's the sales process that's going to work today. Because the way of us acting like a salesperson at our job,
like a sales machine.
Correct. And taking that hat off and going home and being a normal person is over. You have
today, authenticity, you hear so much about it, but it matters, right? It counts. Authenticity is what people are looking for in other people that they're doing business with, correct?
Yes, the stakes are so much higher. I'm not walking in going, oh man, I've got to buy this vehicle. I'm just going to have to deal with this salesperson anymore, right? Because I can avoid that entire aspect of the transaction altogether now.
That's right.
I can circumnavigate.
You can do it right here.
Exactly right, in any industry. So what I want to do is I want to walk in just like that doctor, right? And I want to, this person's here to help me. Right? So you have to not only have it in your heart to help, but you have to have a process that's going to help you do that.
Yeah, no question about it. Matt Easton, sales trainer, consultant, founder of Easton University. For those of you that are listening to us have this discussion, he's right. You got to have a process. You got to have the necessary training in order to win today. These are the kinds of solutions that we want to bring you to your businesses and your showrooms. So, Matt, thank you so much for joining us on the show.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Great.